All right. I don't know what episode of Hell Talk this is, but I'll find
It's
out
like
when I
7, right?
upload it. I don't know. I don't really care. I feel like the number almost doesn't matter, and I don't put anything in the title that that would say anything about what we actually talk about. I usually just throw it in the description, so I guess
Yeah.
that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But I don't know. But who are you? Who are you playing? Who you like in Marvel Rivals?
Right now, I really like Iron Fist. That's my considering him my main for right now. Super solid DPS attacker. He gets out of the fight, gets in it fast. His only problem is you have to play him more as a flank character, and he's a little bit slow about getting into the back line because you have to be a little bit more strategic because you're not super stealthy. You got to use his wall run and everything to get back there. But once you're back there, you could delete supports like they don't even exist. So that's what I really like playing right now.
Yeah, I was watching a couple tips and tricks and how to videos and things like that on it, and yeah, the the early consensus on Iron Fist is that yeah, he pretty much just goes like, oh, here's a character that's not a tank and they're by themselves. Like, yeah, if my abilities aren't on cooldown, you're just dead. So, uh,
Yeah.
so yeah,
he,
I mean,
he lives because he's got his L2 on PlayStation. Uh, he basically for about the entire time he blocks during it and has almost infinite health, and then he could start attacking at any point, but it takes down the block. But he attacks so fast that I mean supports get deleted, and then if you need to block, you could get in and out of the fight without even taking any damage, and then you heal by yourself. He's like the perfect. If you have bad supports on your team that are just not keeping up with the rest of the team, you can live by yourself playing Iron Fist, and that's what I like.
gotcha. Yeah, I was looking at, like I said, at other early, you know, I don't know if they're like tier lists or just people that what people think is strong, and they said, yeah, they're like, what they say, Iron Fist and uh, Psylocke. They said felt strong, and then
Yeah, Psylocke with her 3-tap combo. Yeah.
I don't know what any I don't know any like I shouldn't lie and say I don't know any character abilities yet, but um, I don't know most characters uh, like abilities that go on cooldown. Like I'm familiar with most characters like basic attack animations and overall strategy. Um, I think the only video that I actually watched on that involved any specific character was on Venom and Jeff the Shark. But yeah,
Jeff is fun. Jeff is fun because you just walk people off the map with his ult, and that I enjoy. You kill yourself, but you kill the entire team, so your team just
yeah,
puts up the
I see
payload.
that a lot. But even then, it's like some people are saying um videos I was watching were talking that on certain maps his healing is so overpowered because it's like infinite range. They said so.
Yeah, you could cross map heal almost.
Yeah,
It falls off so far after. So
yeah, and they were saying the same thing about just his basic attack too. That the damage it deals, it almost has no fall off damage. So it's like they're like it's a very slow sniper, but it's almost like a sniper character as well. So I'm like, all right, but we'll see. I don't know the basic uh, overall kit that I saw that I felt like I would enjoy the most, but I know that I wouldn't perform that well with it. Is Thor. I feel like I saw it and they're like, oh yeah, it's basically like you hit characters, and by hitting characters, you use your abilities more, and by using your abilities more, you get more health and more stuff, so you can hit characters more to get user. So it just kind of like repeats the cycle. I'm like, all right, yeah, that
Yeah,
kit kind of
he's got a
feels.
unique kit. That's for sure.
Yeah, it feels like something that I would like, but I just know I'm like, nah, I almost never do well with characters that are either not necessarily tanks, but just I don't know. I feel like melee characters in general. I don't know. We'll see. So
Yeah, we'll have to test that out. Yeah.
yeah, because like
Yeah.
I feel like the character I would do well with the most in terms of my playstyle of other games is like Hawkeye. Is just feeling like, all right, like I'm gonna be way over here, and I'm just gonna just throw arrows over there, and then if you come for me, I'll use my escape abilities, and I don't know, just something like that. But
Yeah, Hawkeye is already definitely an S tier. He's not as consistent as Hela, but he's very close. Because you got one attack, you got like one shot, and then it takes a little bit of time to charge up. Hela can two shot people with a headshot, and
yeah,
she's more consistent damage output, and she's like Hawkeye in that way where she doesn't really have fall off damage, and she has ways to get out, but she's just more consistent in damage world.
yeah, I saw that too. Where I think it was, they also said Hello was good because um, I forgot the word that they used, but I guess her basic attack is it's either like so quick that you don't
Oh yeah, she has
like
now I'm blanking on it.
it's not auto target, but it's kind of like, yeah, if you're clicking on the character, or if you're not on PC, if you press the button and you're looking direct at the character, like it's gonna hit him. Um, whereas other projectiles, like they take, it's like almost like insta frame, I guess, that it like so they're like, if your
Yeah, she has
opponent,
point click. Yeah,
yeah, they're like, oh, if
she
your opponent's
shoots the
playing like
second.
Spider-Man, and if Spider-Man's swinging around, they're like, just play Hella, because you just click on the Spider-Man, or again, just if you're looking at Spider-Man, then you're hitting Spider-Man. Um, but it's not like super auto target like Scarlet Witch, but
Yeah.
yeah,
And the thing with Spider-Man is like, yeah, he's got a very high skill ceiling. We know that. It's the same thing with Wolverine. Wolverine has like this weird skill ceiling that there's only like a couple people that have kind of figured it out, but you could easily destroy people with Wolverine. It's just it takes a lot of skill to get there. And that's the same thing with Spider-Man, but the thing with Spider-Man is like there's so much shit that you got to do. Like you got to do like 50,000 button presses to kill one person compared to someone like Hela or Scarlet Witch where it's like I hit you twice and you're dead. It's like there's too much to where, definitely some characters shine more than others for sure right now, but um
yeah.
I feel like it's gonna, we still haven't gotten any balance changes yet or anything, so it's still basically on first wave, So we'll see what happens right after the first balance change. I mean, I already
Yeah.
heard that. I think, I want to say like 12. I believe 12 new characters are getting added on the next update, if I'm correct. Or they might be spread out between I think two, maybe three updates even. But I know Deadpool and Hitmonkey's coming. I know Null's coming. Jean Grey's coming. Emma Frost. Um, Trying to think on who else. Oh, all the Fantastic Four. Sue Storm, Mr. Fantastic, Johnny, and the Thing are all coming. So there's a lot of new stuff. Also Ultron, Thanos, if I'm correct. I believe Thanos was one of them that was called out. So there's a good chunk of characters. I mean, they're already having when all 12 of those get released, they're already gonna have I believe three. Yeah, they'll have 45 characters after the next 12 come out, which is already more than Overwatch. Surprisingly, that's three more, which is pretty crazy uh, for a game to be out as long as Overwatch with less characters.
Are these extra characters, are they going to be like tied to like a battle pass or like a season pass or something?
Oh, they're saying Marvel Rivals. The devs have kind of been saying that everything's going to be free. Like they
Okay.
don't want to, skins and everything. That's going to cost you, because you don't need skins, but human brain says you do. So,
Oh yeah, I've played. I mean, I haven't played it in a very long time, but for a very long time, I played League of Legends, and that's same thing. It's kind of like you can get everything, every character you get just by playing the game, and then yeah, beyond that, it's just, do you want to look cool? Like, you know?
yeah. Do you want to look cool? Spend $20. There's one skin. Um,
Yeah.
I already bought. I think I bought 3 skins already. So it's already happened. Um,
All right. Who'd you get skins for?
I got the OG Psylocke skin. Uh, then
Oh,
I
that's
got
the one that's making rounds, huh?
yeah,
Got the
yeah,
memes for
the
that
the,
one and
the
be like,
new
hey yo, we got the that's
um.
the holla at your boy skin right there.
Then I got the Cloak and Dagger. The I forget what they called it. It's their like not the alt skin, the actual like brand new version of a skin. Um, it's kind of like uh green. I don't know. I liked it. It looked cool. Had a good MVP pose. And playing Cloak and Dagger, you get a lot of MVPs because to me, I think they're the most broken character in the game. I mean, you could survive 2 Punisher alts at the same time, with the character. So I don't know. As a support, I think that is the best support in the game. But and then the third skin I got for Iron Fist, I got his alt skin. I didn't really like his alternative skin, but or his not alternative, his different looking skin. The alt skin where he has white hair instead of and then blue costume with red. I thought looked better than the green.
I don't know. Like I said, the only skin that I know of is that Psylocke skin, only because there's been memes of it. Like, oh, so you got to pay to get ass in this game. So that's basically.
Yeah, you know what? It is the only revealing skin in the entire game. So at least they're not going. Uh, they're not ripping. They're not making people spend a lot of money so far.
Yeah, and like I said, and to their credits, like that's her costume from the comics. Like it's not, it's not like something that they've completely made up, for like a money grab kind of thing. It's just like, hey, I mean, it's there, but like you said, it's
It
not.
obviously was made for a money grab because if you look at everyone else's skin, no one really has a comic skin yet, except for her, which is pretty funny. I mean, they obviously have the movie from Deadpool Wolverine, the Wolverine costume. They gave him one. All the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it's the worst skins, but they have the movie ones from like the fourth movie, or third movie, sorry. Um, which are I think they're just kind of with the like Nova Corps symbol and everything. Then they got Scarlet Witch got her MCU skin, which is kind of nice. Trying to think on what other collab skins there was. Spider-Man No Way Home, uh, and then I believe Iron Man Affinity Iron Man had one. And he is the only one that has a MVP pose that kills himself in the thing because he snaps the Affinity Gauntlet, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Wow. All right, didn't know that. Yeah, didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's like that Well, I wasn't expecting him to have the Affinity Gauntlet in the thing, but yeah, he basically snaps it. Then it's like, all right, well, we know what happens after that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I don't know why it reminded me of when you said, oh, they're bringing 12 new characters in the game. Did you hear for Baldur's Gate they're bringing 12 new subclasses to the game?
yeah, which I heard because like mods have already changed the game a lot. I've downloaded like hundreds of mods, and then after they put the cap on, had to go down to like 50 or so. Had to remove all the dice options, but having the subclasses from the mods were pretty cool. And now that we're getting 12 real ones, I think the game just gets better every update.
Yeah, I'm like, when I first saw the news about that, I was thinking like similar to you. I was like, oh, these are mod subclasses. It's like, no, these are like official from Larian. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like 12 of them, like, and yeah. So I'm going through, and it looks like a couple of them. Actually, probably most of them are more like role play stuff and like making weird
Yeah,
combos
flavor.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, a couple of them look pretty gnarly. I definitely want to try out that like that shadow sorcerer or whatever. Or
That
I don't know
one
if it's
looks cool. Yeah.
shadow wizard or shadow sorcerer. I don't know, something like that. But it's like they showed you can like summon like a shadow dog or a shadow hound or something. I'm like, oh, that's pretty decent. All right, we gotta try that out.
Yeah, getting more summons. That's the thing about Baldur's Gate. You always love summons because they could go and take the hits for you.
Exactly. Yeah. So, especially when you just send them out like way, way, way far ahead of you. Like, yeah, you go start that combat, and then even if they die,
Exactly.
you're like,
That's
nah, I'm
why
just gonna.
I had Shadowheart always spawn in the summon Celestial, and she would always summon a Daijin, I believe, and then that
Oh,
has
you know
like
what?
infinite health.
Yeah, yeah. So that's yeah. So I actually learned, yeah, pretty quick. Yeah, it's just like it's either the Jin is just like for that massive knockback.
Yeah.
And that helps like, if when you're playing what's it called? Um, no, actually, no, that's a different strategy. Uh, but yeah, you can get like free knockbacks on people. Yeah, I usually summon the diva because just the wrathful smite usually just messes people up. It kind of sort of kills somebody in one hit because even if it doesn't kill them, and then they'd have to stand still. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah, plus yeah, they all have fly and everything like that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I'm excited about getting a couple other. I don't know if I'll do full playthroughs with each class. Obviously, I might just do like one playthrough and just once I get to level 10 or so, then just start swapping between
Swapping
all of
between
them.
them.
Yeah, but uh, but yeah, I'm just like it just blows my mind. I'm like, man, and they're like, especially it was surprising to me when they came out and they're like, there's not going to be any DLC for this game. I'm like, this is almost a DLC, like 12
Yeah,
subclasses.
I would call it close to one. I'd say it's
Yeah,
like the what would you call it? The $5 DLC.
yeah, it's almost. I mean, it's like that combined with the crossplay update, combined with the official mods, combined with all of the eat dark or dark urge or evil endings, even for all the uh, origin characters. I'm like that's a lot. Like that's that's enough where if this was a uh, comparing it to other games that I used to play, such as like EA games like Sims and stuff, and I'm like Sims, they make every single possible little thing its own DLC. Like, oh, you want 3 new skins for your refrigerator or something? It's like you got to pay $15. I mean, it's just you know, it's just insane how something like Baldur's Gate. It's like, man, like I would gladly pay you guys to make more stuff for the game. Um, but it's weird when they're like, yeah, we're gonna move on to other projects, and this is gonna be it. And like I said, and then all of a sudden you're like, what? Well, then what's 12 new subclasses? Like, should we expect any more? And they're like, no, we're not gonna do any more. You're like, well, you said that before. Like, so I don't know. Should we? Are you sure we shouldn't expect anything else? Like, this is it. You're done now. But it's nice to see games like that. Um, so it makes me feel decent about saying like, all right, I can put the game down for a while, do other stuff, and then by the time I come back to it, there's going to be, another, 100 hours of content, for me to try my hand at.
I think games have finally noticed, and starting with Marvel Rivals right now and Baldur's Gate included, it feels like it's a one-time purchase, and you get everything. It's no
Yeah.
more of this like, oh well, here's a DLC, here's this, and I think the one game that got away with it was Elden Ring because it basically added a whole new game, and that was very spending $20 for a whole nother game was understanding like that game deserved an extra $20 for that, but now it's like I want to pay for my game and I want it to be complete. I don't want to pay so I could get this other shit, later on. And that was a thing, with the first Spider-Man. They had you pay for the DLCs, and I was like, that kind of sucked. It's like there's so much content here that now I have to pay for, and it's like I already gave you like $60 for the game, like, and it's just like just give me the game. You don't like. I shouldn't have to make these microtransactions to get more of my game. At least is how I see it.
Yeah, especially if it doesn't build upon or add anything new to the experience. Then it's like if you're playing the same stuff and nothing is new, nothing feels different, nothing changes. You're like, why am I paying for this then? Like this is the same stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, it's good to see, and yeah, I'll probably start officially. I'll probably tonight or something. That's when I'll start my Marvel Rivals career. And figure out what characters I like to play and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I was telling Rick and all them and Miguel and all that stuff. They're like, oh yeah, you gotta play, and I was like, well, I'm like, again, I was like, Overwatch games I'm not usually good at, so I'm like, you just gotta be fully aware that you gotta carry me, because I'm not I'm gonna be the guy dying a million times. But yeah, I don't know. We can change the subject here. We can jump into Hero.
I just bought I don't know if it was worth it, but I just spent $20 for a Tila Prime. And then I just spent 25 for a Colonel James Road.
I think that's all right. I mean, there's some people selling it for less, but I think it's just one of those things where it like you see, like once a set, once it becomes last set, so once Collector's Trove comes out, like there's not going to be anybody selling Black Panther stuff like that. I mean, and if they are, it's kind of like, all right, well, that's because they're somebody like Ken Small or David Newmark who opens a lot of cases and a lot of bricks, of each set, to resell. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it matters that much when it's a piece that it's like once you have it, you're gonna just keep it. If it's something like, either more of like a generic or a piece that you kind of want to play multiple of and stuff like that, then it's like, yeah, sometimes it's either better to hold off or just wait until you can get a deal for more than one at the same time. But
I felt like it was like they maybe had like a $5 difference, if I got it from somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's one of those things like, even if you're like, oh, I spent $10 more than I could have, and it's like, well, in 6 months from now, are you really gonna care about it? It's like it don't matter.
No. For $45, I was like, I'll get somewhat of play out of them to make the $45 up.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me. Like I bought the White Tiger Prime for $40, and I'm like, even even if it never gets played, in terms of like competitive, and then a couple months from now, it's like, oh, people are trying to sell it for $30, and it's like, all right, so what? Like, I have it. That's all that matters. But
I just got a
yeah,
collector legacy character. So now I just gotta hopefully pull
oh
that collector's card.
the unavoidable damage one. Yeah,
I read that and I was like, you know what? Everything is a fucking equipment. I'm buying it. Like that's a character that I'm gonna have to get. You know what I mean?
yeah, but it's I almost think like what. I don't know. I don't. How do you build that team? Obviously, he's gonna have some kind of motorcycle stuff to make the
Oh
team.
yeah,
But
I gave him. I think I gave him hyper. I think I was giving him. Uh, yeah, I gave him hyper because he has 4 range and then 8 movement hyper, which I felt was just like you get more reach with hyper than you do with running shot. And granted, the only difference is like I could carry someone, and I was like, I don't know if I want to carry someone or not, and that was my next thing. Because I was thinking, do I use Green Man on the team? Because I think Green Man's cosmic, right?
I know he's cosmic energy. He should have the keyword, right?
Because I think you play the cosmic keyword. I want to say. But
Let's
if
see. I
Green
don't
Man's
know.
playable, then I think it's motorcycle all day.
Why HC is trying to make me sign it. All right, let's see here. Green Man. Uh, yeah, he's cosmic. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd probably start there by adding the Collector and then Green Man to the team, and then giving Collector probably motorcycle at that point. Um, because then I think he has cross map with the TK, if I'm correct, because he goes out 4, he's +1 movement because the motorcycle, and then so that's going 5, and then +7, and then +4, that's 16. So yeah, he hits 16. Over elevated, I believe, right? Because a Green Man.
Yeah, it'll be over elevation.
Yeah, so then it just comes down to like what else do you do with the team, and I think that just that's really up to the person. Because I think that's like an auto include is Green Man with Collector. Um, to modify range and then the over elevation. Because like you don't really care about stop clicks, but he also gives out enhancement, which is big, so you're dealing 4 damage,
Right.
So it's 4 unavoidable, which that's
Well, I think
I don't know.
you still have to hit though, right? It's not. It's not.
Yeah, you have to hit. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have
So
to be
that's the thing.
equipped, and you have to hit. Which I mean,
Yeah.
you just have to build off of hitting. Which I guess either a shit ton of probs, triple perplex, whatever it needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking more of just get. Honestly, I would. Let me look at the.
And I think collector's always on click 12. I don't think there's ever a game where he'll ever be on click 1 at the start of the game. So he'll have imperv for whatever that may be. Like that's kind of cool. Um,
Yeah, it's another click of life, basically. Yeah.
yeah, and then but yeah, the he also I believe unequips, right? People, yeah, he can unequip people, which I thought was also cool. So it's like if I go up saying I hit a Major Logan, so they'd have to miss their super senses once. Which if that does happen, you don't have super senses anymore because I'm just gonna unequip you.
Yeah. So my thing is, I don't know if it'll need an errata or not, but I just don't understand the wording of his attack power. Uh,
It's a
so,
single equipped opposing character. That character chooses one.
yeah, I don't like. What is that? Does that mean your opponent picks? I just that's what I
I
don't
guess it
understand.
does.
What is it? Yeah, because it's like the character doesn't choose, the player chooses. You know what I mean? So I don't.
Yeah. So do you
That's
want to take
what.
unavoidable, or are you going to be unequipped?
Right. That's what I don't quite get. Is
I would guess that it is your opponent that chooses. You know, the
yeah.
one. So yeah, in that case, I mean, they're probably going to unequip themselves, right?
So, but that's the thing is, if they unequip themselves, you get it. Like, unless it's if it's unequipped KO, then you score it. But if it's unequipped drop, then you
That's what I
immediately
mean.
get
It's
it for
like
free.
it feels so good. That's why I think
Yeah.
this collector's that good, because it's like, all right, you want to take 4 unavoidable, or do you want to just take 4 and you're unequipped, and then I get your equipment,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that,
I
you know,
think
like,
I think it just needs to be clarified to say instead of say that character, it should say that opponent chooses one because yeah, because it's just so weird. That's why I was like that
yeah, my
character
little
chooses
plastic
one.
figure chooses.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like I get the idea, like the character is the one using the power, but it's anytime they've worded a thing if they say
Yeah, that
choose.
character's opposing force or opposing player. I don't even know how you would word
Yeah, it
it.
just says that. Yeah, that player. Yeah, when that opposing player or that opponent, just say that opponent chooses one.
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
opponent of that character. Yeah, yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I still think unequipping, getting free. I basically take your shit, and it's like, all right, you're Major Logan. Do you want to be unequipped, or do you want to take 4 damage?
Yeah, but again, it's like you still have to hit though. You still have to
Yeah,
hit.
you have to. You do have to hit. Yes, that there's that caveat. But I don't know. I think for 60 points, it's not the worst character.
Then do we have an actual uh picture of the card anywhere other than like an
The person that pulled it was Lucas. Um, the HeroClix HQ or whatever. HeroClix headquarters. Yeah, he pulled it in his unboxing. He like shows it in like the very start of the video almost.
the Lucas. Let's see here. Uh,
But I figured it was worth it. 60 points. You get cosmic energy. You know.
yeah, I think he's yeah, I think as I said, I think it's interesting enough. Like I said, I think it just needs a little clarification, and then also oh, he's not 60 points. He's still
Oh,
45.
I'm talking if you put motorcycle on him.
No, because it says during force construction, he may be assigned an equipment without paying its cost.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I think he's got playability just because of that. Like I said, he's gonna get a free motorcycle, and
Yeah, that
then
changes things.
yeah, yeah. So I think that's definitely decent.
Yeah, 45 points, and yeah. Because, taking away the Major Logan thing, every team's going to have equipment on it again. Because we're not just trick arrows and motorcycles after this set.
Yeah,
Because
and
there's no.
it's not even just needing equipment. It's like it's a non-character game element. So if anybody's playing any one shot, that's same. It's the same thing as like before when people were playing like um uh what's it called? Um I think even like well, let's see, but in the
Tarot
past when these
cards could be a
yeah,
Saturn
tarot cards
9.
good, yeah, but I'm saying in the past when
Mystery
that's
cards.
that yeah, yeah, the same that's true. They also but what was the super common thing in the past that people would say that's not equipment. This is back obviously
Sideline?
Yeah, so like when they had that same trait when he first came out, and uh, so obviously people would be like, "Oh, we have gems," but it's like, what's the other thing that they could have um on their force? Was ID cards still in the game at that point? I don't know.
Yes. What set was it? The last X-Men set had ID cards. The it's close to, well, not the last one, but I mean the one of the last ones in Silver Age of Age.
Well,
Uh
anyway, I mean, I'm just thinking, yeah, back when, like with what easily procced him, because it's like, oh yeah, everyone's gonna play this thing, and it's like that thing is not a character. So, but yeah, and
it
I'm just
was
thinking,
Xavier's school had ID cards, and then also the X Jet had ID cards.
yeah, because that just reminded me, because I'm like, yeah, with one shots, like they're cards, and I'm like, oh yeah, people had cards, and I was like, yeah, if you have these extra cards, then they get to the extra click, and I'm like, I forgot what those cards were. They're probably IDs. But yeah, so like currently, yeah, it's tarot cards, it's one shots, um, and you know, equipment, and and obviously any you know, if you're using that special object or something. But yeah, it's virtually every team. Uh,
Yeah, because I think every team runs one shots, and oh my god, the one shot that was revealed today is ridiculous. Did you see the one shot that's basically Chase Hadari Yao?
no, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, for 5 points, you could get her ability. Let me see if I could find it in here. Shield throw. Equipped friendly characters have range, triple target, make a range attack with a minimum range of 4 instead of normal damage. Deal each hit character 3 damage for 5 points.
And that's say that again. Read it again. Sorry.
Equipped friendly characters have range, triple target, make a range attack with a minimum range of 4 instead of normal damage. Each hit character takes 3 damage. Or deal
Gotcha.
each hit
Okay.
character
So
3 damage.
yeah. So if you're equipped, you have that ability. Nice. Okay.
Which I mean, there's so like I said, most of your main attackers are just equipped now, so it's just like, all right, I'm gonna pop this, and I now have Chase Storm ability on my, you know, whatever character. Like, you just have to have running shot, and it works. So I just think that's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, precision strike, Pensa. I mean, you give this to um I'm trying to think off the top of my head who has a really good Pensai clix. I don't know. There's just a bunch of characters that just works with, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah. So
But
I'm just trying to think of a way to make this Yandu work. um.
well, we know Despero or Black Panther. That's already auto included. Otherwise, you've wasted 60 points.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even beyond that, I'm just trying to figure out, because that's, is there a theme team that does it? I'm not sure. I think I think
What?
I think the play. So before I was talking about, I think Barrier is going to make a pretty good comeback, and I do think this Yandu is probably an answer to some of that. Um, in that, yeah, obviously, if you playing, let's see, because he doesn't share any keywords with Despero, and he doesn't share any keywords with Black Panther, right?
Um, Cosmic. I
Ruler
think
Warrior. No, no, he doesn't share. All right. So
Despero doesn't have Cosmic.
no, he's just future past, Mister.
Damn.
Uh, Was he a scientist? Was he?
Yeah, vehicle, pirate, mystical. Yeah, that's
He's just
about it.
future. Oh yeah, future past time stealers. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So I think Yandu. I think one of his more useful strengths is that he can remove the blocking terrain in between the squares, because normally the arrow just you deal 1 penetrating damage to 1 character, and obviously he deals to all the characters in between them, but it also destroys the blocking terrain. And I think that's one of the key things for him, is that he kind of sort of guarantees Alpha Strike. Like, there's nothing that you can really do. So, like, if your opponent, like, if the opponent's playing Yandu and they're going first, like you said, obviously they're playing like a Black Leopard or Despero, so that it prevents the Beetlejuice from coming out. Beyond that, like I said, unless you're main forcing Beetlejuice, which that could also be a thing, but I don't think that's gonna be that viable in 300 modern. We already know it's good in silver, but that's because you have another 300 points of a team behind it. But beyond that, I think it's just you have an Alpha Strike strategy. I'm thinking, and again, the one of the best Alpha Strike strategies I can think of is still teleporting over Hadari Yao, giving her Pulse Wave, hitting, and ideally hitting the entire opposing team for 3 damage. And with Yandu, you can't prevent that from happening realistically. And, I'm thinking of a scenario of, all right, you have a very cheap taxi. I mean, that's why they gave Yandu such a low movement speed, is because if they gave him anything reasonable top dial, you would just walk him all the way across the map and free place the arrow
Yaka
next to
arrow,
him.
and then
Yeah,
just
you
go.
place the arrow next to him and then free throw it at your opponent. So you obviously have to carry him. But that's super easy to do. I mean, you have characters as low as 10 points that can carry him as far as he needs to. And so yeah, I'm just thinking, like, of action 1, you carry him, then you free place the Yaka arrow, free place the Yaka arrow again, destroy any blocking terrain that's in the way of your Alpha Strike, and then you come in with something like Solid Jor-El, and then you hit somebody that shares a keyword, so you use the 1 shot to automatically hit them, and then you automatically hit them, and then Hadari Yao comes in and then pulse waves everybody for 3. I'm just like, what do you do against that? And I'm sure there's plenty of things to do against that. Obviously, because that team is not a theme team, it's not inherently going to go first. And so if you're not going first, then you're going to have issues. So, it's
You're not going first to Brock's bunker, man.
yeah, no, I mean, like, even still though, with Brock's bunker, I mean, if you have something like, just any, like, I'm just even picking like characters that aren't even that great, but like Vanisher. All right, I'm just gonna phase up 11 squares, carry Yandu, and then Yandu throws his thing through blocking, and then then your Alpha Strike can get through, get through the blocking and see him. So, I think that's why they specifically. I think that's why they gave him keywords that didn't match Despero or Black Panther, and I'm pretty sure is there a way that you can keyword cheat Yondu and or Black Panther and or Despero like together? I'm not sure.
That's a good question.
It's like
Can you?
in Silver Age there is, and I think in Silver Age that becomes a problem because it's X-Men, because Yondu's a brute, Black Panther's a warrior.
Well, it's a Racco or whatever.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But that's
Yeah.
that's what they do. So in Silver Age, it's a theme team. So Yondu on a theme team, that's what's kind of you want. You want to go first, and just make it so like there's nothing your opponent can do about it. But in modern age, I don't know. I don't know if there's any. Again, this is just me thinking off the top of my head. I'm not sure. Is anything that
Yeah, I don't see.
pirate? Does anything keyword sheet pirate vehicle?
But the cool thing is the Yaka arrow can sit in blocking terrain.
No, so I mean it's still a marker, and rule of occupancy says that nothing can occupy blocking terrain, so you can't sit inside of it. Yeah. So, it can sit inside of a character square, which that's how you do it. It's like so even if your opponent places, multiple layers of barrier, you can still just put the arrow into the square of a character, the opposing character, and then destroy the blocking terrain between those squares. Because that's the thing, like so it effectively destroys 3 squares of blocking terrain in a direct line. But yeah, so you can place it in a character square, and it won't damage that character. But that's not the whole. Not the point. The point is you're getting rid of the block terrain, so your Alpha Strike automatically hits because we have the automatic hit card. And like I said, then when you follow up with Hadar Yao, I'm just like, ugh, that's really nasty. So yeah, like I said, in Silver Age, I think that's a definite issue, but I don't think it's as much of an issue in Silver Age because we already know Beetlejuice is already good on main force in Silver Age, so that just stops that whole combo.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like if you're not main forcing Beetlejuice, then that's tricky.
Free damage is free damage.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't even think it's for the free damage though. It's like I get it. Free 1 damage is great. Right? I'm not arguing about that, but
the blocking terrain is the big part.
Yeah, it's just the fact it's you can't, if you get to a point where your opponent can't prevent you from attacking them because auto hit card exists. Granted, yes, they have to share a keyword, but with the characters that you would be using, it's like I said, it's either I would think it would be Zala because she gets rid of shape change, which is the only rollout that you could possibly get with the auto hit card. But the idea that nobody on your opponent's team, I mean, it's like you might just have to start building that. Like nobody on your team could have any keyword that Zala has. So, no Cosmic, no Pass, no Warrior. Amazonian, Kryptonian, whatever, that's easy. But no Cosmic, no Pass, no Warrior, which that's tough. I mean, anybody with a Pass keyword, it's kind of like, are you playing Predagon? Yeah. It's like, if, or any of the other, myriad pieces that are just Cosmic or Warrior. That's a lot. Like they're pretty widespread keywords where somebody on your team is going to have that keyword. And if any one of them has it, and you risk your whole team getting wiped. Which again, that's like whoa. Well, I shouldn't say whole team getting wiped, but you risk every important character on your team getting hit for 3 damage. So it's kind of like you'd almost, in setting up, you'd have to place all characters that share a keyword with Zala, like in the corners of the map, and then everybody else that doesn't goes in the middle and just like hide, hide from Zala. Don't let her auto hit me. Like at least force her to roll the attack, that brings over Hadari Yao. Because like you'd have to spread out your team because you can't let Hadari Yao hit everybody on your team. It's just
no.
Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if I could build that many teams that have a shot at coming back from getting hit. Automatic hit from Zala into 3 damage pulse wave on everybody.
I think you have to use PJ and Scott, PJ Lucas Scott now. Pog as like a guarantee in the Hadari Yao world of Universal Weapon.
Yeah, but
because
but here's the thing: it's like PJ Lucas Scott, they have warrior keyword, so you could just hit them with Zala, and again, you could just say, "I automatically hit you. I automatically hit you."
True. How about Ghost Rider?
To say that you can use your power. Yeah, so I'm gonna say Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider is definitely one of the counters to it. But
well, does she auto hit Ghost Rider?
I don't think so. Let's see.
Because if she doesn't, I think that in that world that might, I don't know. With the Hadari, shit.
No, she doesn't auto hit Ghost Rider, but even still, the trouble with Ghost Rider is, even Hadari Yao doesn't have to pick Pulse Wave. She could still just pick like Energy Explosion and just penetrate, hit everybody for 3. But again, so it's tricky to think that teams, like I said, teams are just going to have to change, I think, a little bit because of that auto hit card and Yondu. Like I said, I don't know if Yondu is going to actually see that much play. But I just think the idea of him being able to go, all right, like if like you said, if I don't play a team that is built to eat that Alpha Strike or to deal with it, then it's like, why do I even risk playing that team? Because you might just automatically lose.
Yeah.
I think people are going to play Hadari Yao. So
we knew that since she was released. Yeah, there's no way you're not playing her. That is by far the most nuts piece in the game.
Yeah, because I said Hadari Yao with the universal weapon is going to happen. So it's kind of like, what do you do against it? And it's not like, I'm not saying there's going to be something that can deal with it and also deal with everything else, but I feel like you have to play something that can deal with it.
If you don't survive Hadari Yao, then you shouldn't be playing the team. It's again that type of world where it's like, oh, you don't survive Darkseid, well, you shouldn't be playing the team in Silver Age. If you don't survive, Legacy Thanos when he was prominent, then you don't play the team. And I think that's going to be the same thing with Hadari Yao. Is if you don't survive her, you don't play the team.
Yeah, because like I said, Ghost Rider is a good start for a counter, but when you think about it, it still doesn't do everything that you would like it to. I mean, obviously, it gives you things like rollouts and stuff, which is great. But Hadari
There's
Yao
definitely something missing.
Yeah, I mean Hadariao is still hitting for 3, so doesn't matter what damage reducer you have, you're still taking damage. She's not going to take mystics because Ghost Rider only just he only says you can use powers, so you don't have abilities. And then even if your opponent's like, oh, I have impervious and any reducer that doesn't reduce penetrating still will take 3 damage because the damage that she's dealing from Pulse Wave is penetrating because she has Psychic Blast, which is weird to think about because normally you're like, what, penetrating damage from Pulse Wave? Like, no, you don't have powers. You just take the damage. You're like, no, it's actually penetrating still. So even if you're next to Ghost Rider and you're like, oh, I can use invulnerability, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's still penetrating. So you still take 3. You know, it's so it's wild. So you're like, yeah, is potentially just a rollout team with Ghost Rider. Is that, you know, I mean, that's kind of before when he came out was just like, yeah, play a bunch of super good rollout pieces and stick them next to Ghost Rider, and there you go, just go from there. But like, is that the way to go now? I don't know. I mean, it might be argued that, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And I'm trying not to hype up Ghost Rider too much, only because I'm really biased towards him. He's my favorite character in modern age right now. So I don't want to make it seem like, oh yeah, Ghost Rider, he takes care of Hadari out teams. Just play him. I'm like, I'm hoping he does, but I wouldn't.
Still gotta test it.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, again, even if you build the Ghost Rider team to do very well against Hadari Yao, and like you said, if you just run the numbers and run the probability and make it seem like, yep, because of my rollouts and, you know, Major Logan and all that stuff, because of that, on average, you know, I won't take that much damage. Even if that's the case, does it do well against other things like things that are not Hadari Yao? And you're like, I don't know. You know, and that's where it needs to at least 50-50. It needs at least like 50-50 other teams. If it doesn't, then it's not worth playing, because then it's like, yeah, it's a great counter team, but if it loses to everything else, then there's no point in even, it's like you can't bring it to any competitive event.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Chase Loki? The Mr. 6 different point values.
I was actually just trying to pull that up in front of me here. Is it anywhere?
It's on HG units already.
All right. Yeah, because I didn't. So when I first saw him, I didn't. I just saw it on the Facebook post, and they didn't show the other side of his card for his other trait that said, you know, shape change.
Oh yeah, just shape change super senses, safeguard poison.
Yeah.
And then you roll a d6 and take that much unavoidable at the start of every turn. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know how I feel about the unavoidable part. It's like, well, if I could have chose what click I'm on, would have changed my opinion on this character. But
Yeah.
30 points to just, you know, I have 2 rollouts. And I mean, you're going off of a gamble every turn, like on what you get. You know, you don't get to decide or anything. It's like, you know, I got a 1 in 6 chance of getting the 1 click that I need or want, and then I have a, you know, 5 in 6 chance that I don't get the click I want, which I don't think is that, you know, I don't think that's a very good thing. I like the sacred poison part, you know, so a poison ivy can't just kill you, but for example, you don't roll for force blast, do you?
No. So that's why they included the to say knockback damage in his effects. So you can definitely do that to kill him.
Yeah, so it's just like, all right, that Force Blast done. I was like, that's all right. Space Ghost is really good, and he's already being played, so he's just gonna free Force Blast you. I'm like, that's not fun.
I think the main point of playing Loki is to just get the free Infinity Gem one shot. I think that's why they're like, oh, it's like, why is he 30 points? Like when you're comparing him to something like Predegaton, right? You're like, why is he 30 and Predegaton's only 20? Taking into account that Predegaton is very overtuned. We know Predegaton is like he's the Scott Porter, of today, right?
Yeah.
But even still, when you're looking at Loki, like still like, why is he 30 points? You're like, I don't get it. Like he just gets hit one time and my opponent scores 30 points. And like, yeah, I mean, when you think about Predegaton, when he gets hit one time, your opponent scores 20. But so you still be like, well, I could give Predegaton another quote unquote life for 20 points. I have to pay another 30 points for Loki. And it's like, again, it's because you're getting the Infinity Gem one shot, without paying its cost.
Which I feel like, I don't know. I don't think that, paying 30 points for an Affinity Gem one shot, so I get this 20-point Loki that, like you were saying, the Predegaton comparison. Predegaton, when he comes back, you pick what click you want. And at the beginning of the game, you pick what click you want. Loki is always random. Like, you don't know what you're going to get at the start of every turn. It's it's not at the beginning of the game. All right, I know what I got. No, it's just like at the beginning of your turn, you're rolling that d6 and you might get something cool. And that I feel like is just like for Dagaton, I get to choose for the 20 points, and I rather just pay 10 points for an Affinity Gem one shot than have to pay 30 points for this 20-point figure that could just be knocked back, or double rollouts is cool and all, but I just have to deal this guy one damage. That means any support figure on a team, which usually they do one damage, kills the guy as long as you fail both rollouts, and that just, I don't know. Like I give you 30 points when he dies too. It's not just, oh, I'm giving you 20. I'm giving you 30.
Yeah.
For Degaton's got, it's just like it's too random.
Yeah, I definitely think for 30 points, you're probably like even with Cathan, because Cathan you throw him on for free, and Cathan doesn't do anything to him. Cathan has no downside. So when you're looking at Loki, you have to imagine all of his combat values are +1, right? But like you said, it's like, okay, but you're getting, I mean, his defense is consistent in the sense that there's only 2 powers. It's just, energy shield or combat reflex.
Yeah, you're either getting the sought after one or the one that you don't want. Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so like I said, even with if you said you're like, okay, well he's a 19 defense, just say like that 19, instead of Predegaton 17, and then he's got double rollouts, so he matches Predegaton's super senses, and then he also has shape change. So he is a little bit tougher to KO in that respect, and then he does have mystics as well. I still think most players won't play him over Predegaton, but I do think there's probably a world where some people
Predegaton, to go into the shape change super sense thing a little bit, Predegaton does have a second roll out. I mean, they have to roll it, but hyper time, because we're saying most attacks are close. So it's like for most attacks, that's a rollout. And he deals damage when when they fail hyper time or fail the super senses, compared to Loki, where it's just like Yeah, I made my super sensor shape change. Complete your turn. You know what I mean?
Right. No, like I said, I definitely think there's very little chance that if you have 30 points left, it's like, are you playing Prodegaton and then another 10 points, or are you playing Loki? I don't think you're going to be playing Loki that often, but there's probably a chance that you might play both. In the sense that, like, you might play Prodegaton and Loki, just like those are your support characters. Because Prodegaton, unless you play him, if you're playing Prodegaton, you're probably playing the TK leadership one, and
Yeah.
but there's times where you don't. But if you're also playing
Yeah, I've had
Loki,
times where I played the enhancement. Yeah.
yeah, because if you're also playing Loki, it allows you to be on the TK leadership and being like, all right, well, Loki is like my other guy that can possibly deal damage, because that's the thing with a Prodegaton. It's like if your opponent just ignores him, then you're just kind of left with him at the end. Like, yeah, well, he's not going to do anything. He's only 2 damage. You're like, all right, game's over. But if Loki is alive, you're like, I can do something, right? That's the difference, I think. It's like Prodegaton does more on average in most games, but if Loki is alive, uh, it's like, well, you're not conceding the game yet. You know what I mean? Like, you could theoretically concede a game with Prodegaton still alive, because you're like, I can't do anything. But with Loki, you're like, all right, because he's always gonna have Cthon, and there are times you're like, oh, I could still hit you for 5 damage. You know what I mean? There's a chance. So, uh, but yeah, like I said, I
Well,
don't think
wouldn't
you're
you just
playing with
rather have
Overrun.
like? Wouldn't you just rather have 30 points of like Space Ghost?
Yeah, no. So again, I'm thinking of a team that's like designed to like already like it's playing all of them. Kind of like you're gonna play Space Ghost, you're gonna play Loki, you're gonna play Predaton, like really cheap,
That's
like
big
30, like,
support.
yeah. What I'm saying, like, it's like in the past, like you're playing both Scott Porters, right? And that's kind of what Predaton Space Ghost
Yeah,
is
and they did
now.
every. Yeah.
Like that's your 50 points, right? And then if you also like said throw Loki in there, you throw Kevin on there, you're like, okay, so now I have like a bunch of kind of sort of, you know, like
You got
really
every power.
inexpensive characters to do whatever I want with. Uh, that my opponent has to make rollouts for no matter what, right? Um, and maybe you combine it with something, like Ghost Rider or say like that. Like, look, okay, now everybody is on my team's got rollouts, and again, I don't think just I think if you're thinking of it like just Loki in a vacuum, he's not a really great character. He's probably minorly annoying if you play him at like 90 or 120, because you're like, oh, I have to hit this guy multiple times, right? Okay, yeah, that's pretty
It's like
annoying.
Lockjaw, and the Ellie Lockjaw is basically the exact same character.
Yeah, right. It's like
But the Lockjaw just felt better because you had pickup power.
yeah.
He
No,
was way
again,
more. He
yes.
was 70
Loki
points,
is way
but
more random. Yeah. But again, I'm just thinking of not Loki like by himself on a team, but if you're like, hey, look, like if you're playing all of them, all of a sudden I think then it suddenly feels decent, because you're like you very quickly have a lot of characters on your team. You have access to pretty much all the powers that you're looking for, and then you still have like 150 points left. You're oh, all right, well, maybe I can make something out of this, So I think it could be something there. Um, but yeah, I think by himself as a, this is my support character. Like, no, he can't be a support character because he's not a reliable support character. Like if if on turn one, it doesn't really matter what you roll turn one unless you're going second. But you can't say like I'm playing him to be my TK piece. No, you can't, because most of the time he's not going to have TK when
He's
you
off
want.
that click. You have to roll
Yeah.
a 6.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, turn 1 doesn't matter what you roll, because the only, well, as long as you don't roll a 6, right? If you have to not roll a 6 on your first turn, and then you have to roll that whatever specific number you need to get him, onto the TK click next time. And actually no, it doesn't matter. Even if you roll a 6, because if you roll a 6 again, he goes back to TK. So yeah, his dial spins around. So yeah, so no matter what, there's a 1 in 6 chance that he's going to be on the click that you quote unquote want him to be at. So you can't play him to fill a role. Like, he is just the whatever character, and that's what I said. Like, I think using him with the Prodegaton, with Space Ghost, maybe with Kevin, but
I think
just
Kevin's worth it. I think Kevin is one of those
yeah. I'm just thinking too, like, of Kevin,
appreciated.
because Kevin re-rolls single D6 rolls by Marvel characters, so you could re-roll your Super Sense or Shape Change, things like that.
Yeah.
But so looking at
You
it
can
in
re-roll your
that
Loki
respect,
roll.
yeah, you could do that if you really need to. But but yeah, so I think he's got potential, but again, if you're looking at him from the lens of he is a insert characteristic here, like he is a support character, or he is a secondary attacker, or he is like no, he's none of those things. He is just an annoying character for your opponent to deal with, and then you're gonna use that Infinity Gem one shot with somebody else to do something worthwhile. That's pretty much it.
He's like a Miguel piece. That's how I see it.
I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm gonna. I wanted to agree with you, but then I was like, "What am I agreeing to?" So what the hell? What do you mean?
Like, for example, Weapon X, right? It's just annoying, and it doesn't do a crap ton. And that's a Miguel piece. It's just a really annoying piece that you will have to deal with. Otherwise, it's gonna screw you up. You know what I mean? And that's what I consider Miguel pieces, because he always plays some weird whack piece that screws you up, and you're just like, God damn it.
Yeah, I get it a little bit, like with Weapon X, but I mean, what Weapon X does, like, doesn't do anything for most games.
But that's what I
Whereas,
mean. That's the same thing with Loki. He won't really be doing much, but
yeah,
like,
but
he's
he's
just
gonna do
annoying as
something.
shit.
He's gonna do something, because
Well, Weapon X does something. I
you
mean,
just
it's not like he didn't win.
you can make Loki consistent by by giving him an equipment. Um, even if it's
Uh,
just an equipment that is one of the Black Panther generated ones. Even if you want to just give him an extra defense, or just an extra
but that means you're
damage.
playing Shuri at that point, and that's, I don't know. It just consistently feels like, once again, I rather play Shuri over him, and it's like, and I'm not playing all these support figures on one team with a
Yeah, but again,
Loki.
when you're dealing with, like, if you're dealing with a character that always has 20 defense, and I understand Mern exists and things like that, but I again, it's just there's a world, I think, where he fits into that, like, team, which is every character on my team is about 40 points or less, and they all have rollouts, so they're on average more difficult to score than most
Oh
characters.
man, you're going back to like Flash days
Yeah,
and
and
magnets.
that's kind of
Like,
what I'm thinking
oh,
of. Like, if if but it's also true. Like, for example, if you're playing a team and your sideline is already set, like, you're not playing Loki, because his Infinity Gem thing doesn't do anything. If you already have, if
yeah.
your
If you're not
sideline's already
getting an
full with,
Infinity Gem, then why are you playing Loki?
right. Well, again, that's what I'm saying. I think that's where most of his value comes from. Um, but I do think there's definitely potential for him to do something, to make some kind of impact in a game.
Yeah, I guess it would be in a scenario where it's like you have 20 points left over, and you're already playing an Affinity one shot or Affinity Gem one shot. You're considering Loki for the 20 points.
Right. And I should also say this, is that I think that this Loki is not, his average game impact is not going to feel great, because obviously, the click he's on is die dependent, but beyond that, especially if you're playing him at 30 points, again, it's either he dies in one hit or he basically never dies. So the value that you feel like that you're going to get from him is going to be, it's either you feel like you're like, man, I just wasted 30 points, like I just gave 30 points to my opponent, or you're going to be like, wow, this guy is really good, and he's like, my opponent's not even going for him because he's got multiple rollouts and his defense is high and blah blah blah, all this stuff. So I feel like you're either going to have a really good time with him, or he's gonna just like die in one hit and not feel great at all. But yeah, like I said, in the going back to the world of Yandu and auto hits and Hadari pulse waving your whole team, I definitely think this Loki fits on that Ghost Rider team that we were talking about before, but I don't think it. I don't think it's gonna see top tier play, just because his dial is inherently random. So just like Chaos King, where his effect is inherently random, that design, while it's fun, doesn't lead to competitive play, because competitive play is all about removing as much randomness from the game as possible to get the most consistent results. And Loki doesn't provide consistent results, but what I'm just thinking about, his one shot provides consistent results, his rollouts provide consistent results, and if you're just looking at him as a stat character, just saying, look, he's 9 speed, 12 attack, 19 defense, maybe 21, and 4 damage. If you look at it just that, right, and you're like, oh, okay. Even if he didn't have any powers like on his dial, you'd be like, all right, he's all right. He's not great, but he's all right because his stats are decent enough.
Yeah.
So, and again, there could be turns where the powers that he uses work out, but it's like I said, it's just, I don't think using him as a your intention with him can't be, I'm going to use him to do something. You can't do that. You have to just use him as a piece. It's like, he has decent stats, he has rollouts, and I'm going to use the Infinity Gem with somebody else. But like you said, there's other characters that do the exact same thing, that give you Infinity Gems for free, is part of their trait. On top of, you could just play the Infinity Gem by paying its cost normally. So, yeah, I mean, if I get him, I'll try him out, but I don't expect too much from him.
I'll say he's one of the best feeling like Lokis.
Yeah, other than like making clones of himself, other than that type of effect, I feel like, yeah, this is a good version of him.
One thing cool is we're missing a single prime from this set. I just realized that it is only a 3 prime set, not 4. We're only missing a single super rare right now, and that's the Prime Juggernaut. And then we're just missing chases from there on out. And then I don't know if there's any one shots or equipment left, or any one shots left besides that. But for so far, we have all Kerr and missing just the Juggerduck. for super rares, which is kind of cool.
Oh yeah, because the primes are Namor,
Yeah,
Juggernaut.
Prime Namor, Prime
Iron Man?
Juggernaut, and then Iron Man. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, it is a smaller set, so I get that they're not doing 4 primes, but it just feels weird that there's not 4 primes.
Yeah, somebody, I don't know if you saw it, and I forgot who it was, but somebody did make a post about the idea that this set was designed to be like like an X of Swords kind of thing, you know,
A
War of
slop
Light.
event? Oh
Yeah,
my god.
because they're like look at the size of the set and like look at the X of Swords, you know. If you look at that set, how many where is it? Where's X of Swords? Yeah, let's see.
You know, that actually
Storyline.
makes sense. Sadly enough, that makes sense.
Say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.
Well, you know what I think it is? Is I
Prayers.
think they're running out of ideas. Down at WizKids. I think that they're slowly running out of. The game has gone on for so long that I think that they're starting to just run out of ideas.
I don't think they're gonna run. I mean, they might be uh, limited in what they can use based off of their license agreement, but I don't think they're running out of ideas of what to do. I think I'm almost in agreement with the idea that this wasn't supposed to be a full set, but then they flipped it and they were like, well, there's no possible way that we can get it out in the summer, so we'll just market it as a full set. Just how they, you know, like I said, like imagine the X of Swords, the storyline event. Imagine that was not a uh if that was not an organized play event and they just released it as a complete set, but instead of having, you know, month 1 and 2 and 3, they just scrapped all of that and they just said, look, we're putting it all together because the only differences between month 1, 2, and 3 were the super rares that you could get. So that was it. And
Yeah, Kerr was all the same, and swords. Yeah.
and they just throw in a couple chases and you're done. And it also makes sense because some of the chases in this set have gold bases and some of them don't. So
I did not notice that.
yeah, so the gauntlet pieces have a gold base, and then the dark hold pieces, they just have a regular base.
Well, that kind of makes sense, though.
Yeah,
I didn't even
I
really
mean,
think about that, but
but in terms of, you know, if it's a chase,
for a slop event, I guess the dark hold ones would have been like the LE prizes, and the gauntlet ones would have been like grand prizes.
yeah, right. Well, because there's 3. How many gauntlets are there? There's Loki, Deadpool, Thanos, and there's gonna be a Hulk that also has it. And there's a couple.
Spider-Man has it from the Into the Spider-Verse set as well. He also has a golden base and he has the Affinity Gauntlet.
It's Spider Verse, or is that this
That's Spider-Verse. I think it's Spider-Verse. It's previewed for Spider-Verse, but it could be in this set.
All right. Well, you know, even then, that's still probably like that. Just kind of also goes to show you that this was a slop, and they just broke it up into, and they were like, okay, this guy can go into this set, this guy can go into that set, because it doesn't how it doesn't make sense that, you know, the chase line of like characters having the Infinity Gauntlet, right? Ooh, cool. That's the chase, and then
You know what? It totally is a
of
slop
the
event
one,
because the 2x2 T-Rex from Into the Spider-Verse because he's going to be sold for $30. Someone saw a leak on the WizKids page of that.
yeah, and that seems like that would be just how they did, like, you know, Mogo prize, you know, and the
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just thinking of.
yeah, it just seems like they're just bleeding it over. Which again, it's whatever they want to do at the end of the day. But
Which that comes to the question: is the next set also going to be a small set?
that's nobody knows. That's the
Are we
thing.
going to 12 boosters with less product? Or, well, I shouldn't say less product. Less variety, but
So
more quantity. That
it
seems
it
shit.
it. Well, here's that's the thing. So I totally agree that at first it seems like it sucks ass because you're like, oh, I'm getting a bunch of duplicates and a bunch of, but it's like, but you don't have to buy as much. I think that's fine. Like if you get
Yeah, but you're still going to get the same amount of super rares and chases. So you're still going to have to buy the equal amount because that's what you're really wanting. You're not wanting duplicates occur that much. And if you
that,
do,
but that's
usually
still the
it's like,
same. But that's the same as any other set. You
well,
know what
yeah,
I
but
mean?
we're paying more for this for less for the same amount of super rares, if I'm correct, right?
Right. So again, yeah, that's a different thing. So I agree that uh having saying like if we get less super rares in a booster, like I don't like that. But again, you have to also keep in mind that this is probably I'm guessing this is probably an outlier um because like you said, like it's a small set. So if they gave you like 4 or 5 super rares in a brick, then from a case like that's the, you would have duplicate super rares or you would have everything. You know what I mean? Like because there's let's see,
That would be true, yeah.
it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. There's 8. Yeah, there's 8 super rares.
Besides
You know, not,
primes, right?
yeah, not counting primes. Cause right, yeah, one,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, not counting primes. There's 8 super rares. So if they gave you 4 super rares in a boot or per brick, because the set's small, like that's it. You'd get a case, and again, unless they gave you duplicates, um, that you would that's it. You'd basically be like, I have a full not a cur, but like a cursor. You know what I'm saying? Like you and it, but again, so I totally get it. Like I don't like the idea of paying more for the same number of super rares, but it does kind of make sense because it's a smaller set because they they want you to still basically it's kind of like I would think overall you wouldn't have to buy as much to get everything. Still, like in the grand scheme of things, because if you're like, okay, look, if you get 3 bricks, all right, it's like and even that's 9 super rares. So it with that, it's kind of like the ones that you don't have from that you can trade for, using the ones that you opened, and I mean, I'm not counting primes, but yeah, I think it does definitely beg the question of like next set. Is it also going to be small? And
And
I
still
will
stay 12
yeah,
boosters.
I will definitely be on your side. Like if it goes back to an 80 figure set and there are 15 or 16 super rares, and if they're still giving you 3 super rares, a 12 break booster, then that's bullshit. I totally agree with you on
Which
that.
I always thought was bullshit anyways. We should be getting 5 back when it was 10 boosters, you know. It should have been 4 super rares, 1 chase, 5 rares. That I feel like is the perfect thing. And then the next brick is like, instead of a chase you get a prime and then 4 super rares and then 4 rares and then 5 rares. That I feel like 4 super rares is the key number.
I I don't I'm not too worried about super rares. I think it's just as long as they're giving you a chase. I don't see why they can't. Like every brick should have a chase. I don't see why it shouldn't. Um, because I think that's where you'd be if they could ever at any point in time guarantee that they
Do
could
you
just look
think
at
every brick should have a chase, and then every case should have 1 prime but 2 chases in a way?
oh I mean Yeah, I mean, ideally in a 12 booster brick, yeah, it should be. You should get a prime and a chase every single time. Every brick should have a
I don't know
prime.
if it should be every brick for a prime. Saying because there's still only 4 primes, and it would really suck if you open a bunch of boosters and you pull. Let's say you get you know 2 cases and whatever, and now I have like 4 primes, and I have a set of 2 of each.
Yeah. So again, I'm thinking of like a normal, like a big set how we're used to, where there's like 6 primes or something. You know what I mean? So then it's like, all right, yeah. That means if I'm
Is there
getting
6 primes? I thought it was only 4.
uh
When have we had 6? I thought the only 6 was like A60 because it was ridiculous because they had Hulk, Cap, Iron Man, Thor. I think Thor, and then like 2 others and shit like that.
let's
I
see.
think it's only 4. Yeah, Black Panther only has 4 because you have Black Panther, White Tiger, Tila, and Colonel Joan or James.
Let's see. I think there was 5 in. There's 5 in Masters of Time.
There's
Okay, there's 5.
5. Am I
Yeah,
missing someone?
Etrigan, Reverse
Oh,
Flash, Blue
Energon.
Beetle, Swamp Thing,
Energon.
Madam Xanadu. So yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
like I'm thinking like that. So like there's got to be there's 5 or 6. Then yeah, there's got to be
Yeah, these are
one.
averages because Mesh Times is 115, Black Panther was 105, Deadpool Weapon
And,
X, how
and
many
I'm
was in that
I'm
one?
all on board with them saying like, look, or if they just did this, look, every brick is going to have either a chase and a prime or 2 chases. Just do that. Then at that point, you can still give us just 3 super rares. I don't care. That's it. So now, if you're looking at it from a pack perspective, there's 12 packs, right? If 3 of them are going to have super rares, then 2 of them are going to have uh like
Prime or Chase.
either a chase or a prime. So that's it. Like there's 5 really good packs out of 12. I think that's what needs to be a minimum.
That would
Ideally,
also make
you would
it
also
more worth it
yeah,
to buy single boosters.
right. Ideally, you would also just throw in also a 4th super rare and just say, look, yeah, 4 super rares, and then either 2 chases or a chase and a prime. And again, I'm thinking of bigger sets like Masters of Time and things like that. But if if not, then like I said, if they're going to do like just small sets and be like, all right, well then we have to give you less stuff. It's like, all right, well then I don't think small sets are appropriate for 12 for main set 12 booster bricks. Like it doesn't make sense if you're not gonna uh, guarantee it, because I get it. At the end of the day, they're like, well, they want to sell the same number of volume, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
get it. It is about just hard numbers as far as profit, but want to sell the same number of volume, and one smaller sets can't do that. So by design, they have to give you less of the set, per brick or per booster, and it's it's odd. I don't know. It's just odd that they would go in that direction and have the first set do that. Like so, the first set that they're going to 12 boosters, back to 12 boosters, is a small set. It just seems odd that they would go that direction instead of saying, hey, there's 12 boosters, and also the set that's coming out with that is going to be the biggest set that we've ever released, for example, right? So it's like bigger bricks, bigger sets, all that stuff. I think that would get a better kind of just even from a PR standpoint would be better. But I don't know.
If they did,
Hopefully one.
you know what? If they just decreased the price, they'd sell so much more.
That's the other thing too. I'm almost even on board where from a small set perspective, like just give us 4 characters per booster, and then just reduce the price overall.
Yeah, 4
Go
characters
ahead.
in a one shot. Give a guaranteed one shot.
Yeah, or
or
just like
something like
yeah,
that.
like exactly how they did with the Exoswords OP. You know.
Yeah, 4 characters, a sword, and a tarot card. That was insanely. There was profit every booster you opened.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the idea of doing something like that doesn't cost them that much more from a manufacturing standpoint.
Yeah,
Like
I don't know
throwing,
how much it cost them because granted, there's probably ink on the cards. Then you got to do ink for the, you know,
I mean,
boosters.
trust me when
Which,
I say that ink is not really
yeah,
that
it's
much of a
dirt
thing.
cheap.
It's mostly making sure that the image quality of the print shows up, but they for the most part they've got that handled. Um, it's
Yeah, and
just
then obviously, the material cost I don't think is that much. Like they're little plastic figures. Like you combine
oh
all 5
yeah,
figures in their bases and you stretch them out, you basically have the amount of plastic it takes to make the holder. So that's cheap as shit. The
yeah,
cards, the
it costs
paper's cheap.
roughly, yeah, it costs anywhere between like 20 to 40 cents on average to make a hero clicks piece. Um, and but like when you talk about like one of the biggest costs from WizKids is just like the taxes of shipping everything overseas, and and then so it's basically like they kind of have to like pay double tax on it because they have to pay to get it here, and then they have to pay another tax to sell it. Um, so that kind of is where a lot of, but if you're looking directly just at the cost of producing the hero clicks, like you might say like, oh, they're really cheap. Like, why do they sell them for so much? Um, but but I'm not trying to say that WizKids isn't making money hand over fist, because by their own admission, I mean HeroClix is the number one selling miniatures game in the world, and it's not advertised at all. So they don't have
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck it is number one.
yeah, well, it's because it's the way that they're counting number one. They're counting by sheer, again, by volume. They're just counting the number
Yeah.
of figures that have been. They don't count how many sell to players. They just count how many are produced and how many ship out of the warehouse. That's it. But
They should
anyway,
actually count how many players play
no, they
to
can't
be
do that
number
because
one.
they would be it. Then, I mean, as we all know, then it'd be one of the smaller games in the country.
Oh yeah, this shit would be smaller than almost every game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you'd be like, it's smaller than Warhammer, in terms of players, but you know, but they can't say that. They don't want to say that. They'd rather say it's the number one selling miniatures game in the world.
We sell more product, but we have less players.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, but
Because
yeah,
it
like,
makes I did the math. It's roughly around $4 a pack for them to make an entire pack.
yeah, yeah, it'd be something like that again, and it's like a lot of their costs are, oh, we have to pay, somebody to come up with the designs. You have to pay to somebody to test them and all
Yeah,
this
and
stuff.
I don't
So
know how much they pay for that. I don't know how much they pay for the, how much the taxes are and shit, tear all that stuff. So it's like, I don't know. I just definitely don't think what is it, $60 a pack now, or is it 17?
that's a good question. What is it? Is it? I think it's 16.99 is the MSRP, right?
Yeah, I think Games Plus was selling it for 17. I don't know. I usually pick up a booster or two when I go, and then I just don't look at the price because I feel too bad about it. So
Because I feel too bad.
I feel like it's gonna put a mental toll on me if I actually look at the price. So I just here's money. Give me what I need back. Um, it probably is $17. So
Yeah.
I mean that there's it. I don't know how much money they're making off of that.
No, it's
Yeah.
they're because they don't advertise it, and if you look at the the average total cost of most just most products, period. Um, Generally, the cost of advertising the product usually meets or exceeds the cost of making it. If you know, so it's like if they
Oh yeah.
so if HeroClix wanted, people are like, oh, why don't people advertise HeroClix? And it's like, well, if they advertised HeroClix, they would have to start charging $25 a booster because wherever, and when I say advertise, I mean like seriously advertise, being on, every TV channel you can think of, all over YouTube, all over, like on Google, they would have
Yeah,
to,
I've never seen a HeroClix advertisement. That is a good,
yeah, and I mean, and you like look at things that are advertised a lot that you know about that you would never consider like even purchasing yourself, like, and then you look at the cost of those things, the price that they're asking for, and they're insane. And then you're like, why is it so high? You're like, oh, it's because this was it, because I know about it and I'm not even part of their target demographic. Like that's why it's so expensive because they're advertising to everybody. I'm like, one of the things that even uh, my wife saw is the Ridge wallet. Are you familiar with the Ridge wallet?
Yeah, I think everyone's familiar with the
Yes,
Rich
right.
Wallet.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody knows what the hell a Ridge wallet is. Like, why? Because they advertise everywhere. Like, no matter what you're doing, they're advertising. And especially now when it's the holiday season, they're really advertising everywhere. And you're like, what is the Ridge wallet? It's two aluminum slabs and an elastic band. Like it's almost nothing. It's almost not a product. But
Yeah, I know how much that cost. That cost maybe $1.
like
Because of my
yeah, it's like
manufacturing class showed me that one. So
yeah, it's like
yeah.
yeah, exactly. Like the elastic band, mass produced that's nothing, and then the two aluminum things. Once you get that, once you get that figured
Once
out,
you
and
get
you
the
have
machine dialed in and it's
yeah,
cutting nice, you're
yeah,
set. I mean that shit is
yeah.
cheap. You're just
It,
paying for aluminum.
like I said, exactly. So it costs. We'll just say let's exaggerate and say it costs $10 to make. Right? Let's like that's a huge exaggeration. Let's say it costs $10 to make. Doesn't even cost anywhere near that. But let's just say it does. So you're like, okay, from a general business standpoint, you have to sell things usually for twice as much as it costs for you to be able to sell them. So so it's like the cost that if it costs you $10 to make and it's in your hands and you're giving it to the customer, you charge the customer $20, right? Because that covers the cost that you just did to make it, so you can make another one. Plus, the everything on top of that is profit for you to keep running the business, like your cost of everything, all the costs associated with running the business. That's generally a good thing. It's like it's just doubling it. There are certain businesses that have more or less uh, um, margins, and I shouldn't say it's not like profit margins because profit is like everything beyond all costs. Like what's your margin? But usually for most retail things, it's double that. So like, all right, let's assume again, going back to the assumption that Ridge wallets cost $10 to make. They don't, but how much are they selling them for? You're like, oh, they're on sale for $65. You're like, what the And you're like, or
I didn't know they were
oh
that much. I thought
yeah,
they were like $25 a pop.
no,
I didn't
no,
know they
they're
were
like yeah on sale for like normally they're like $80. Most of them are like
the
$100.
fuck out of here.
They have versions of them that are almost $200. Again, it's like for what? Again, it's like
Like
why are they so
my
expensive?
Swiss Army knife card holder.
Yeah,
Like
why are they so expensive? Because you know about them. Because everybody knows about them. That's why. Because they advertised everywhere. So it's the the double-edged sword of, yeah, we wish HeroClix was advertised everywhere because that would probably get more people to play. But if they did advertise everywhere, HeroClix would be $25, if not $30 a pack. It would have to be advertised somehow as like a super premium product, which we know it kind of really isn't when you compare it to other things. And it would be the players that we would hope to get from it wouldn't be able to afford it anymore. So it's HeroClix.
Oh
Is
yeah,
in a
yeah. The
weird
players
spot.
would get, yeah, they'd be like, I don't have enough money to keep playing within
Yeah.
like a week of starting.
Exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't get any players that would start playing because of the price point, and you wouldn't get many new existing players to continue playing at that price point. So it's very strange that HeroClix is in a spot where it's like, man, it would be great to advertise it only if it was free.
Yeah, and I just spent $285 on a Savage bundle of Collector's Trove, and I was like, oh, that just don't feel good, like when you start paying hundreds for clicks, it was like when I started doing that, I'm like, this game is really going, down for me, because it feels worse every time you have to buy clicks.
Yep.
Because you
Yeah.
feel like you're wasting money every time. Just for that, like, split second of happiness when you beat someone. You know what I mean?
A split second of happiness when you beat somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have that split second of happiness, and then it's like, all right, now I'm like, I really spent $100 on this camo. Like, all right.
Exactly. You're like, man, I had to spend $100 to beat
To
you
whoop
in for
some kid's
32
ass
seconds.
in a kid's game, so that I could feel good about myself.
Yeah.
But
All
I
right.
mean, yeah, it is a out of all games, I'm kind of glad it is a smaller community in a way, because we don't have the ultra weirdos, I will say, from playing other card games and other miniature games in general, playing D&D for years. It's like HeroClix is the least weird group of, or community, I should say. That has the least weird people.
Yeah, I think yeah, you always get some no matter like what kind of game like this that you play, but I think I definitely agree that when you look at overall on average, like the the amount of players that will unironically show up and play in costume, like that like with other games that kind of happens, and people are just like, oh, it's that guy, when no one, you can't say anything about it. But like HeroClix, no one really does that much. Like I said, and I mean, and I say unironically, like of course you get, the occasional, oh, Calder Ness is gonna, dress up as Captain America, but he's doing that for that purpose. You know what I mean? He
He's
doesn't
doing
act.
it because it's funny, and
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
it's supposed to be
He's
a fun
doing it.
thing, and
He's not.
YouTube channel, all that shit, it makes sense. But if you're like
Yeah,
dressing
like
up as freaking Harry Potter and shit, playing, HeroClix, you're gonna get a look, man.
oh, I mean, like how many, these people that are again unironically dressing up as like Yugi Moto and going to Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. Like that happens. So you don't see as much of that in HeroClix. So yeah, like those kind of weirdos. Yeah, we don't. We fortunately don't have too many of them in HeroClix.
Yeah, I just found it as this is the best community for game for miniature collectibles, all that stuff. It's just not. Even D&D has weird people, man. You'll play in a group and you'll be like, I don't want to play another session in this group.
Yeah, no, I agree too. Yeah, because it's just well, the thing is D&D is a lot more. It's almost kind of like you're just in extended conversations with people. It's kind of like
Hmm.
if you're the type of person where you get that feeling of, unfortunately, we're just not clicking, and it's not necessarily that I just don't like you, but it's I don't like talking to you for very long, um, or or I'm trying to say it in not like a negative way of like, it's
We're
like you
not
don't
into
have
the
anything.
same
You don't.
things.
I don't have anything against you. There's no animosity towards you, but I am not getting any entertainment, from this activity that we're doing together. Whereas HeroClix, yeah, it doesn't really. You don't. There are some people where you're like, oh man, they're not really good attitudes or whatever like that, but you can still play the game with them, even if they're a sore loser or a sore winner or whatever. You
Yeah,
can still play
you're
the game.
rolling dice at the end of the day. There's no like I have to really talk to this person. It's more or less so if this person I'm kind of not into playing against. Just imagine you're playing against an AI. You know, like that. That's how I kind of think of it. It's like all right, bad attitude. All right, I'm just. It's just another, you know, AI that's playing. At the end of the day, everything's on the board. There's nothing coming from our mouths. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the only thing that you have to say to them specifically is, well, it's in the what is it? The rules that say you have to greet your opponent. That's the first thing you have to do.
Yeah, and shake their hand
Other than
firmly.
this greeting, I'm not going to say anything specifically to you. Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna say things about the board, and that is it.
well,
But yeah, I don't know.
yes,
I just found that HeroClix is just a great. It's a good getaway game,
yeah,
because
no,
you completely switch focus to a different thing.
yeah, another good point uh, that Atlas made before when we were talking to him when we were at Paper and Plastic is, uh, it's like because HeroClix is a smaller game and the community is smaller, you if you are a experienced player, it's almost impossible to get scammed because you know everybody. And if some random guy comes up and is like, "Hey, I'm selling this, for dirt cheap or whatever," and it's like the experienced players are like, "Who is this guy? I have no idea. I've never met him. Like, this is an obvious scam. Like it's some random dude." Uh, Whereas that's not really possible with like if you're saying like I'm gonna play Pokemon. You're like, all right, there's hundreds of thousands of sellers all over the planet. Like you can't know everybody. But with Heracles, it's like, yeah, like everybody knows everybody. And if you don't know somebody, like you know somebody who knows them, by name. And
Yeah, by name. Yeah, not just
yeah,
know them. It's like by name.
yeah, because like how many times have you seen on a Facebook post something like, oh, so and so, isn't responding to my messages, or I'm looking for so and so, and I have, they left something here, and I'm trying to find them, and it's like, and then 5 minutes later, there's like 10 comments on there going, oh yeah, I know him, he's in my play group, I told him about it or something, it's so it's almost, like I said, aside from the occasional, scam posts, which do come up, but if you are an experienced player and you are familiar with the names of most players, it's so hard to get scammed and or get
And if
taken
someone
advantage
is
of.
well known and they try to scam you, everyone's gonna dog on them.
Yeah,
Like there's
exactly.
no. It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah,
you fucked up. All right, now you got the entire community because we all know.
exactly. It's like you can't. Yeah, you won't be welcome playing anywhere. You can't
You
play this
can't
game
escape.
anymore. Exactly. You can't just say like, oh, I'm gonna like
I'm
you
gonna go to
can't even.
Ohio now.
Yeah, you can't
Nope.
even say like I'm gonna move to a different state and play there. Like, no, they know you.
You
Like,
can't even go to Mexico or Canada either.
right? Like they know you.
You
They'll
might
be
get
like,
away in, you can't even get away in Singapore either. So it's like,
right?
what else is left?
Exactly. Every community that plays this game has a Facebook group for it. Everybody knows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're gone. You can't say you have to like freaking you can't even go into witness protection to get out of HeroClix
Yeah, you want to
jail.
go to Brazil? Nope, we got a group there too.
Yep. Yep. So, I'm gonna I'm gonna have to jump off in a second. So I'm gonna stop the recording here. And yeah, who knows when we're going to record next, but let me just click stop and we will pick it up another time.